Cheers, everybody, and welcome to episode 45 of your favorite late night Friday night hash cast. It is Variables, and we are your hosts for Crowley, Pedro, and Superior Buds. You can find us live every Friday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, Twitch, X, and beyond. And, of course, after the show on Spotify and wherever the hell you get your damn podcasts. How you guys doing tonight?
Cheers, brother.
What's going on? How the hell is everyone?
Good. How you guys doing this week?
I'm laptop bound tonight, so in case you're wondering why I'm looking up your drawers, we're in a different angle this week, and you're gonna have to fucking deal with it. But I'm doing great. How the hell are you guys? Oops,
Doing well, man. Doing well.
We're live, by the way.
Letting everybody know. Make sure you're subscribed to your own channels too.
Shit. No, I'm doing good. Taking a little bit of a break, smoky break, which probably won't be obvious tonight, but taking a dab today. Took a dab yesterday. Took a dab yesterday or the day before. But I mean, I'm on 1,000 milligrams of edibles right now, but taking a little bit of a smoky break. So
resting the lungs a little.
Yeah, when we get to working up in parachute, every break is a dab break. So it's just like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, you need a couple days to recover.
Yeah, definitely. And we're gonna skip Labor Day. We're just gonna go in and work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We really need to get ahead of production. We're actually over at Eden doing really fucking good. Awesome. Selling out all the time. I mean, this was not to pat myself on the back, but I'm going to take a second to pat myself on the back. This was a company who was selling flour before I came in. The owner's son saw me, came down, kind of like anybody else who was trying to do any kind of a learning session, or so he came down, he seshed with me. Kind of got everything going. When we first started the washing research, I guess you can say, it's almost embarrassing to say, but I had to get them going somehow. I had to convince the owner that this was going to fucking work, that I was going to get him what I told him I was going to get him. So for whatever fucking reason, he didn't want to drop the $30,000 on the Osprey. So we bought and modified and hooked up and ran 12 5-gallon washers on a raised platform and ran.
Talk about juggling. Holy shit, man.
And
so like I watched you do 2 and me doing 1 is enough moving parts.
I've done 3.
Yeah,
myself.
Fuck that. 12 is insane.
Like I said, I had to convince them, that this was going to do what I told them it was going to do, and lo and behold, now it has. And now we've got a label for ourselves, an organic label. Now they've created the organic labeling and the organic growing and the gardening and everything. I have nothing to do with that, but the processing, I can definitely say was 99% me. They would not be in this processing market if it wasn't for Pedro and all of the things, I guess, that I bring to the table. So yeah. Anyways, we're gonna go back in Tuesday and Wednesday and work to try to get a hold of the process or of the packaging department, because we're getting blown out of the water. We can't even keep the stuff on the shelves. So kind of cool.
That's awesome to hear. I was pulling up some news articles earlier. I can't even see it now because it's blocked out by LA Times' paywall, but it was something along the lines of California's legal weed system is broken while Michigan's is thriving, and like asking why. Of course, it mentions Loom with 1,100 employees and 38 dispensaries.
Yeah, they're huge now.
Yeah. Apparently they grew 100,000 pounds last year, which...
Do you think, and this isn't throwing any stones, sorry to interrupt, but real quick, because I think it's very pertinent. Do you think that, and again, not trying to throw any stones, but do you think that people are going to, I don't want to say wake up, but I'm going to use the word wake up to this overly mass-produced cannabis and start preferring their niche market, small batch producers. Do you think that's going to become a thing, or do you think people are just going to keep wearing Nikes?
I think small batch and niche are going to have a market that is small and niche. I
Yeah.
think the overall consuming market is going to just be smoking boof, whether they know better or not, whether it's a price issue, an accessibility issue, which of course there's still that. And I want to give you guys a quick analogy. I heard this explained one time about like, you know, these dash cam videos and like cops chasing people and stuff. If you want to run from the cops, like, sure, go ahead. But the thing about the United States is the cops talk to each other, and it doesn't matter how far you go, there's a never ending supply of cops that can join in on the chase. And all they got to do is deputize the last county to join in, and then the last county, and then the next county. So it's just this never ending thing. And that's kind of how the cannabis market in the United States has felt for the last like 20 years. It's like, yeah, let's go catch and chase all the money in California, and then let's go jump on Colorado, and then let's go to Michigan, and then Illinois and New York and Ohio and Florida. And like, it's kind of just chasing it around the United States as things become regulated. That being said, it's kind of proportional once these markets do expand in terms of quality versus quantity. It tends to be a lot more just quantity, not so much quality. And I think it's a challenging thing to be
But it's not just cannabis. I
For
mean,
sure.
it like Doug High just said, homegrown anything, right? Tomatoes. How many people go to the farmer's market versus Walmart? And cannabis
Very
the
small
same way.
percentage.
Craft beer. How many people drink Budweiser versus drink, I don't even know,
Their
some
local,
small batch local
yeah,
brewery.
the
It it's
growler that you get at the yeah.
right, you're always gonna have that market. It's always going to be smaller. It's always going to be specialized. The connoisseurs, we've always said we're a different breed. We're, you know, we're wanting the best, chasing the best.
I believe it too. Yeah, and that's, not everyone is. A lot of people are just chasing the cheapest, you know what I mean? Which is
Mhm.
kind of the antithesis of what we're doing, So it's
I've
you
been in the
can't catch
point
them
where
all,
it's like, "Hey, I'm gonna buy a dime and it needs to last me the weekend," type of thing, you
right?
know? If that $10 is gonna get me a gram or is it gonna get me a half from, is it gonna get me as high? Probably not, but is it gonna keep me high all weekend? When you're not smoking great shit anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, I've also, back in the day when medical first opened up, I definitely bought some $20 grams. You know what I mean? And it's like you're paying for that top shelf, and I guess at the time it probably was. It was definitely all caregiver stuff back then. Nothing else existed, but and I've also I've smoked some not so great 20, far from
Mhm.
probably more like $2 gram, type stuff.
I
Well,
am.
It shows.
I
there's
am.
that sign from back in the day with sorry, Pedro, with Scotty Reel standing in front of a billboard where he bought like a $1 half or something up in Washington State. And like just overabundance.
Yeah, and that's kind of where it's at in Michigan right now. We're at under $80 an ounce average flower price in the commercial market, and we're at I think about $10.50 for the average price of a gram of concentrate, and these are retail prices, not
What was the price
wholesale.
on the gram for
I believe
concentrate?
it was 10.50.
Yeah,
I think that was the
I
average
believe it right
price.
now.
And then on top of that, I've been stating for probably 6 months now, at least maybe, that that the medical market here in Michigan was like, sub 2% or whatever. We looked it up for the July report, which the August report I'm assuming will be out here in the next week or two, probably 2 weeks. But the July report, it's 0.004% or something, or maybe 0.04%. It's hundredths of a percent of the entire market here in Michigan. It is pennies on the dollar, and it's kind of a shame, and there's also now this, legislation proposal, I should say, or initiative to combine the markets, the commercial and medical markets here in Michigan.
I was just trying to go back and look real quick because my memory doesn't serve me correctly. Who was first, Colorado or Michigan?
Colorado.
And why the fuck are you guys at the bottom of the bucket so quick? Because we're still $50 to $80 a gram, and we still got quality shit. We're not.
That's not your average. That's not your average, though.
I bet our average would probably be in the $30 range.
Let's see if Investigator for Girlie can
you
find
can
out.
get really garbage stuff here for $5 a gram.
It's just,
but you can also
real quick, Pedro.
Oh,
what is the name of your regulatory agency?
Oh, MIP, medical infused, or that's the MIP. God damn it! Now you got to ask me these questions live.
Like here in Michigan, it's CRA, the Cannabis Regulatory Agency. It's under LARA.
I know now I'm drawing a blank here live. Thanks.
Colorado Cannabis Regulatory Agency.
We work under the MIP, which is a medical infused processing license.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Enforcement Division.
Yeah, it's MOR, I think, or MOD. Thought I said something about MOR. Oh, DOR, SPG. Those are med rules.
The Marijuana Enforcement Division is tasked with licensing and regulating the medical and retail marijuana industries in Colorado.
MED, thank you.
Yeah, MED.
So usually they're going to have some sort of...
I see data.
Yeah. Monthly or annual reports.
Sales reports.
Let's get out of the site. Let's do Colorado monthly. Oh, there you go. Nice. So marijuana sales to date.
So we go up to...
We need a Jamie.
Yeah, right. Someone in the background.
So 113 million total sales
in 1 month, which is less than half of what we're doing. We're doing about $250 million a month right now in Michigan, even more so. It's like 268, 270, something like that.
Yeah, we have the large. What was the article again? It's the largest market by dollar value.
It's the largest market in terms of products moved, so like individual SKUs.
Oh, SKUs, not dollars. Yeah. That's what it was.
Pedro, what was your joke? I missed it.
Because nobody in Colorado is buying it from a fucking dispensary.
There you go. What I'd like to see is the actual price on the grams and stuff. We'll see if I can't find it in the background here. Well, anything new or exciting happening in that market in Colorado, Pedro?
We're doing a bunch more gummies, and we're working with some different edibles that I don't want to release the information on through Eden. A lot of fucking automation is coming down the pipes, which I'm not really a fan of. I understand its necessity, but I also understand what it's going to do to the industry. Just like I was talking earlier, people are going to still wear Nikes, or if they're going to wake up and, But other than that, just proceeding into the world of fucking mass production, which is sad.
Yeah. I found some pricing here. So this is the Colorado average cost of marijuana in 2024. Data shows the annual average prices a cannabis business in Colorado paid for the unprocessed product. So this is, I think, wholesale pricing, right? Yeah. So $750 a pound, which is actually up from last year. But I'm not seeing anything about the like grams or concentrates or
the
anything like that.
breakdown.
But that's what, 50. So $50 an ounce. Typically, they're going to at least double it. So they're probably at what, an average of 100 plus an ounce for flower. I'm guessing.
The first thing that I brought up, I typed in average price for concentrate in Colorado. The very first thing that Google brings up, how much is live resin wax in Colorado? Between $90 and $160 in most dispensaries, which I don't believe at all. But
What's
still
the date on that?
2021.
So here's a little bit of data.
I can't see it, but that's because I'm on a fucking laptop.
1388 per gram. And this is only a couple of weeks ago, August 3rd. Who's this from? What's the source?
Headset.io. It's I have no idea. Is it a data broker?
Okay.
What I was going to say earlier when Budge was talking too is I am probably one of the most uneducated dispensary purchasers, shoppers in the state, if not country. Like when you were saying earlier that I think, and I always say this, I'm not even going to fucking say it. When you were saying that you went to dispensaries and you've purchased, $10 grams or $20 grams, I'm like, I don't think I ever did. Like, ever did.
Oh, I had to.
I did it.
How do you know if you have never tried it?
I guess I don't.
Yeah,
but I did.
I'm a data guy. I just got to know.
But I did. You're talking me. I'm talking. You're talking you. I'm talking.
Yeah,
me.
I'm literally talking.
I did. Like, I don't know how I did, but I did.
I bought it when I go for 100 just to try it, just to see.
When I go to a dispensary and talk pricing and talk purchasing and talk everything with Hetty Boy, I'm just not there because I don't have to. I'm a grower. I always have been. I've never had to purchase my own, and I'm sorry that I'm there, but I am. And have I tried the competition? Yeah, I've tried the competition. I've never bought it. This is what I just said. Never bought it. Never had to. I blasted my own shit in a fucking glass tube. I never had to fucking.
To me, that was pure market research when I was looking to open.
Sure.
I had to know what was out there, what was happening. I had to watch the trends. I watched the prices cut in half pretty rapidly here in Michigan. And that was for quality stuff. Cold cured hash rosin is cheap in Michigan now at dispensaries, and it's not far off from my home. It's just not anymore. They've got the processes down. It's like yours, right? You've got the quality dialed in. Now, when they scale, are you going to let them lose quality, or are you going to work to keep the quality up, right?
I'm working. Yeah.
So there are solutions for scalability. You've just got to find them.
That's what I was saying earlier, is that we're already going through that. One of my processors today just sent me a picture of a cart filler. And you're right there. You're talking about whether or not I'm working. Yeah, I've worked my ass off to keep my fucking art out of a goddamn cart. I've tried so fucking hard to keep my shit out of a fucking cart, but I could not do it. And now it's leading the goddamn company. It's our top seller. So what do I do? And it sells for like fucking $70 to $90 a gram in a fucking dispensary.
But that's running a business. You make what sells. You
Mhm.
don't sell the item that
No,
makes you
yeah.
5% if you've got something that makes you 30% and it take, same
Yeah,
amount
no,
of labor.
you were asking me earlier if I was gonna fight for the quality. Yeah, I'm regardless of the business.
Well,
I
no,
know what the business is.
I
Yeah, I'm
mean,
fighting for the quality.
right, but you still want your grams to look like your grams, is what I'm getting. Not talking carts and that type of stuff. Different SKUs, you really don't have control over some of that stuff. That the market dictates that crap. You know, when everyone wanted freaking snowballs, every fucking grower hated rolling pretty flour and a bunch of shit, but everyone was doing it. I mean, as they grow and scale up, you still want your gram in a year to look like your grams do today. That's you fighting for your quality. Like there's a producer we've seen in Canada, and Devin Canuck was in here earlier. He knows who I'm talking about. It's Big Concentrates, and they do like traditional hash and they do really beautiful bubble, but they've had to scale. And watching them scale, it was interesting because again, fighting for the quality. How do you triple your production but not drop your quality by a third?
I mean, I did. I went from nothing. I went from 12 5-gallon washers. I went from 60 gallons, you know.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you talk about as if all dispensaries are putting out crap. And I don't think that's the case here in Michigan.
I don't remember saying that, but okay.
that was the whole rant was who's going to smoke
Oh,
bad shit. Oh, everything from a
the rant
dispensary is bad.
the rant was when I said did Michigan race to the bottom?
Because they kept quality up and flooded the market. So what's going on in chat, guys? What's everyone smoking on tonight? All right, let's see what we got here. I have not dabbed on the show yet tonight. Some dry cold cure. It's been open on my desk for a while here. We had the reports up for Colorado. Let's take a look at Michigan. God. Oh, these are licenses. Wrong ones. The sales reports.
Not back. Sorry. Oh, you found the monthly report?
Yeah. Well, this is Michigan again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the July monthly report, it looks like.
Yeah, July.
So if you can, I know you're on a giant monitor. Can you make this screen more square shape for us? There
That's
you go.
what I meant to do. I always forget that.
I know. You just got to do it 1,000 times for the muscle memory to kick in. So yeah, this is pretty interesting. The fresh frozen. A lot of these numbers haven't really changed year over year, but the amount of this is medical. I'm thinking commercial or rec or whatever. But
oh yeah, I haven't. I was like, that looks awful small.
yeah. I just realized
Yeah.
So what you should do though is pull up the total sales of medical for this month, which is probably going to be near the top of this.
Medical.
Yeah. It's like first page.
There we go.
So July totals 1.3 million. Okay. Now go to the first, just scroll down to page like 16 or something like that. Okay. I gotta go up a little bit, maybe one page. or 2. Yeah, go up to page 13. All right, so 286 million on the rec side.
God.
In 1 month, doing
In-
almost $300 million.
Oh, that's pounds. Okay.
Yeah, this is all in pounds, so it's kind of confusing. You got to
Yeah,
do a lot
it's
of
tough to judge if they don't do it by unit.
The inhalable compound concentrate that or row 4, that's your donuts and your infused pre-rolls and stuff like that. Yeah. So those actually they say they sell pretty well. The vape cartridges sell pretty well. Obviously, flower is doing a lot of sales, but the price per right there at the very bottom of what we can see on this page, average retail flower price $79.70.
For an ounce.
So some of these numbers, like the active plants, more of this inventory type stuff hasn't really changed year over year. A lot of the fresh frozen flower amounts are similar. There's a couple things that have changed, but
they're just not going through it.
yeah, oh yeah, a lot of it gets sat on. I mean, look at this: flower at growers with tests passed. This means it's ready to go to a consumer. It's ready to be smoked. It just hasn't been transferred, packaged, sold. That's 166,000 pounds just sitting there at growers. Now at retailers, there's almost the same amount, 145,000 pounds.
Gosh.
Processors, they're sitting on over 225,000 pounds. That's not even including fresh frozen. So this is just inventory that's, essentially in the process. And think about it. At the beginning of the show, I mentioned Loom with 38 dispensaries and 1,100 employees grew 100,000 pounds last year.
Mm-hmm.
There's almost double that just sitting there at growers right now that have already passed testing. These are also don't change too much. They're pretty quick. They don't really deny any licenses. It's just mostly the same amount getting approved, year after year. There's a little increase in total licensure, but
no events.
Yep. No educational research, no designated consumption facility, no safety compliance facility, no secure. I mean, that's just licenses getting issued,
right.
That month. But
but then still, it's no micro business.
Yep. You got a bunch of Class C's and a bunch of retailers. That's kind of it.
Class A micro business. That's the new license.
Yes, that's the double plant count but no processing, and you can buy other people's stuff and have it in your store. So it's not really a micro business.
Yeah, it's such a strange pairing for that one.
Yeah, I screwed that one up too, probably intentionally.
Renewals.
So renewals, there was some denials on the renewals.
Still not much.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of stacked all in the same categories.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably proportional to what you see right there. Actually, if you scroll up a little bit. That's active licenses. So we have 2,219 active licenses, most of them being Class C growers and retailers. A good amount of processors now. That's like 100 more than last year, I think. Micro businesses is down from, I think, 10 or 12 last year to 6.
Yeah, they're in a tough position. That's a tough license to make succeed.
Yeah. I mean, same with the designated consumption lounge. Was only one of those.
Is that that Clio? Where is that one?
I don't know. I don't do a whole lot of metric stuff. The processing days, this doesn't really matter. Keep going.
Actions.
So yeah, this is funny because if you compare this to last year, it's a lot more. It's a lot more. Like it was like, and it's funny because it's a lot more complaints. There's like, I don't know how many complaints this month. It's like 10x or something in the complaints. but it's the new head of the CRA. He's a ex cop, and I think he's trying to let everybody know he means it with enforcement. You know,
Yeah.
they've like in the last month basically put three different licenses out there saying that they're gonna like suspend them.
Yeah, they're actually investigating a good chunk. I mean,
Mhm.
that's
Oh yeah, and the average time to complete an investigation down from 100 days to 52 days.
Ooh.
Enforcement actions taken is up, I think, significantly. I think that was up like 100 or something like that. Complaints was up a lot too. It was like 38 complaints to 128 complaints, almost 100. Making a little penny here.
yeah.
Regulatory assessment fees almost $1 million. Well, three
In
quarters.
the month.
Yep. Renewal fees $3 million. So total licensing and revenue collected $3.8 million and expenses of $1.3 million. They're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
What are they doing with that $2 million?
The only government agency that makes money.
The cannabis agencies. You're probably fucking right, dude. Oh God. Yeah, the only other information on that was I thought interesting is like the sales of like the regions. So you can see that like this
Yeah. I didn't get to that part yet.
So southeast, which really and it should include Wayne County, but Wayne County's got its own thing. But yeah, east and southeast at the bottom is like raking in most of the money. I'm sure you'd be interested in the UP as well. But so yeah, east and southeast there's 120 million compared to the upper, lower, and UP, which was
Well, the UP is the second largest region, but we're also half the damn state.
Well, and it includes the upper lower peninsula too.
Oh,
yeah.
So it's all a rural Michigan.
yeah. It's the 80% of the state that 20% of the population lives in.
Yeah.
And the other 20% is where 80% of the population lives, and that's kind of shown in the dollar values here. So $120 million in the east and southeast, which is like Metro Detroit, not including Wayne. If you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see Wayne, which is just Wayne County. It's Detroit, $30 million. So scroll down even further, and it'll show you the breakdown of like there you go.
There we go.
So yeah, if you look at like if you take the upper lower and UP, the red, and then the green, the mid lower, there's only 20% of the population of Michigan lives in those areas. The other 80% lives in that blue, gray, and gold area. And honestly, most of it, there's definitely like not very many people in the thumb.
Right.
It's mostly farmland.
Right. Well, yeah, and like in between Detroit and Lansing and Arbor, and then in between, like there's a lot of farms in that area too, and a lot of farms out in this area.
Yeah, I mean surrounding Lansing and stuff for sure, but I mean the like Wayne, Macomb, and Oakland counties has 4.4 million people last I checked. That's just the Tri-County area. You go out to Washtenaw, which is Ann Arbor, that's still all like, suburbs and city and all that for the most part. I know it's not all, but
yeah, head towards Jackson.
Yeah, you got to get like Chelsea,
Yeah. Starts getting awful flat and awful full of corn.
Little reading down there. Yeah. Get some Amish down there. So yeah, this is I mean, Colorado's got to have something like this. Oh, that's if you scroll past that, the geographic part we just talked about, it's just going to get real depressing.
Yeah. I was actually just noticing this is actually in pounds. So that's interesting.
Yeah, they keep the metrics kind of the same, and then they just go pounds for everything. It's also interesting to see that somehow micro businesses did like 1.16 pounds of transfers or something at some point in this chart.
Like, hey, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
All right, tab time.
Yeah, there's just reading some of these comments. Mid-state, Bay City, Tri-Cities. Yeah, there's Tri-City area, which is kind of like that Bay County area. Mid-state is known as country. I mean, I think Michigan's known as country to a lot of outsiders. And then he said mid-state is Amish too. Gladwin is all Amish. And I mean, yeah, there's a lot of Amish all around the state. If it's just, it's where it's more rural for sure. And it's not like they need a whole lot of like power or anything. So you can kind of do that off-grid living. Plus, it's a lot safer to drive a horse and buggy down like a dirt road than it is like a, one of these expressways or something.
For sure. Still trying to look up the price for rosin out here.
I mean, if all else fails, you just go on Weed Maps and scroll through some menus,
I suppose, right? Yeah, that'll get you there.
Have Superior Buds go all analytical on us and maybe get us some averages out here.
Don't make me do Excel. It's after work.
It's not 1 a.m. yet. Do you think there's let's put it this way. Let's narrow down some states that not for regulation purposes, but maybe for like weather or climate conditions or industrial purposes or whatever it might be. What are some states that you would never want to grow in?
Arizona.
Florida, Arizona.
Arizona definitely seems like probably a huge challenge.
I mean, dry's easier probably than 90% humidity, though.
Huh. That's a good question. I mean, yeah, would you rather have like 90% or 10%, and like where's that break even point?
I think it's a lot easier to add humidity than it is to remove humidity. It's less expensive to add humidity.
It's less expensive, but I think it's almost like harder to add humidity correctly, though. I feel like I don't feel like I feel like there's more people reducing their humidity, and so like there's a lot more backing in terms of the equipment, the technology, and all that. Whereas like so you go into go into a grocery store and try to buy a dehumidifier, you're gonna have like 25 different options. You look for a humidifier, they might have one or two,
But you don't have to buy a humidifier. That's where people can go wrong. You could buy a porch misting system, hook that up to RODI preferred, and then put it on, excuse me, AC Infinity on their smart plugs. You can run as big of a room as you want and spray everything down. Adding humidity can be really easy. Single solenoid, boom.
But what are we talking, like getting a certain size mist? Because I've seen everything from foggers to
yeah, the foggers, just like the
wall.
You get the aeroponic foggers.
Okay.
You put an Aquatech 8800 pump in front of it. It's going to run it at 120, 125 psi, and you're going to have micro droplets that don't form water drops anywhere they land. It's literally just going to increase the fog in the room. I have an old video of mine from, let me see here, way back when I built my aero chamber. Oh, it's way back here. Here it is.
Wolfgang, we're talking about pretty much the most challenging states to grow in, and we're on Arizona right now, and why that might be.
I bet you there's some expert in dehumidification that's saying you're full of shit right now.
What was that?
I bet you there's some expert in dehumidification that's saying you're full of shit right now.
What?
Full of shit about what? Just
the last 2 minutes of conversation.
Why?
Adding humidity?
Yeah, I don't think that adding humidity's or that adding humidity is harder or less?
No, I said adding humidity is cheaper than removing humidity.
Okay. And I said that I bet you there's some expert in dehumidification that says you're full of shit.
Do you want to be that expert's
I-
representative
No,
and tell
hell
us
no.
why?
I
I'm
can
just
tell
being
you from an
facetious.
engineering side, it 100% is cheaper.
Okay. Of course you can, because why would you be wrong?
I've been wrong all the time. But the point is, I'm running a single solenoid with a humidification system versus a dehumidifier, which is a condenser and it's an AC in a box. You can argue the cost of it, but I can show you the kilowatt output. They're night and day. There's literally no argument there.
I mean, it definitely seems like dehumidification is very expensive to run. And also, we're talking now. Wait, with adding humidity, there's no like transfer of heat energy or anything like that, right? Where there is
Correct.
with most
Right.
common dehumidification methods. Is that just why it's more expensive? Just because it takes more energy to
It's more,
remove it?
we've talked about it. It's like the reheat guy,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You're removing the humidity using a condenser. You have to move that energy somewhere, and then you have to put the water somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Your output is heat from that. You're transferring. Versus I can actually control the temperature better with humidification because now this is adding more energy ahead of time. But if you control the water temperature, you can actually lower the temperature in your room just with humidification as well.
That was going to be my next question. Is like, what's the ideal temperatures? Because I have to imagine. I mean, could you like throw a thick enough fog in your room that you would like lower the surface temperature, the leaf surface temperature, while coating it and making it a problem? Like it seems like that could be a recipe for powdery mildew if you just did it really wrong at the wrong time or something like that. That's why I think adding humidity could be more challenging, but definitely not more expensive.
My argument with that is your dehumidifier in that point is your exhaust fan. So it's very easy to maintain a balance. You still have the ability to dehumidify because if you're in Arizona, you have outside humidity that's super low. So you can dehumidify by just exchanging air at that point.
Oh, I see what you're saying. But what if you had, you're operating with sealed rooms and you're not using the
Again,
outside environment?
you would have to build this utilizing what you have. So if you wanted to build a sealed room, then that's a whole different set of problems because now the outside humidity doesn't matter. Now it doesn't matter where you're at. You're a sealed environment, you're already talking of fully managed environment. It's only when you're exchanging air that you have to deal with what is my outside humidity, what is my outside temperature that I'm bringing in.
You don't think I mean, I don't know what it would take and I don't know what it actually is in Arizona, but let's just say we have an environment that's, I don't know, 10% humidity or less, 24/7, 365 days a year. Would it not have, you're saying it would have no effect whatsoever on a sealed grow room?
Minimal effect.
Okay.
That's why you insulate. It's like your house, right? Like my house does not change from the outside temperature as long as we keep it sealed. But I have extremely thick solid log walls, right? It's what is your insulation value on your rooms? Are you building cheap rooms? Are you putting up, 1/4 inch insulation over drywall? Or do you have 2x6 framed out, or are you using SIP panels? What's your framing? What's your insulation? And if you're putting in the work for a sealed room, you're going to insulate it. I feel like.
Well, so if we are talking about sealed rooms, then there's should be no difference between state to state, right?
Right. That would be the goal with a sealed room is repeatability no matter where you're at. I mean, you're going to have some challenges. Your incoming water temperature is going to be different, all kinds of different shit. There's still other variables. And you are going to have some effect. You know, someone's going to open the door. It's going to drop the temperature of your lung room by 10 degrees because it's freezing outside. And then someone's going to go right in the flower room without waiting for temperatures to stabilize. And you just dropped your flower room by. You're going to have shit like that.
And I'm wondering how, you know, because that's something that scales too, right? Like we might only go in and out of our garden doors, I don't know, like a dozen times or half a dozen times or whatever a day, right? Whereas, I mean, in a scaled commercial, maybe 50,000, 60, 80,000 foot grow, like how many times are those doors getting open every day, you know, and by how many different
That's
people?
why you're seeing those airlocks now.
Mm-hmm.
The big blow chambers or whatever.
We
I don't even know what you call them.
Yeah, it's
like,
basically an airlock. We designed one in Owasso like that. It was fucking sweet.
yeah, I mean, or think about grocery stores. How do grocery stores maintain temperatures? Do you remember back in the day when they'd have the giant blowers that would blow straight down and you walk through? Because that movement of air is an insulating layer that holds the heat in. You're still losing some, but you're not losing some if you just got wide open doors.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same concept, except the airlocks also have doors, you know, even more so. Clean rooms. Yeah, air curtains. There you go. That was the name I was looking for.
Oh, that's a good question. What about elevation? How much does that affect our plants, you know, in a sealed environment? Maybe you could speak to that, Pedro, because I mean, we don't got a whole lot of elevation here in Michigan, and
we're awful flat.
yeah, we're surrounded by lakes. I don't know. I don't have anything to compare it to.
Neither do I really, except for back in my 20s when I was growing back in Madison, Wisconsin. Other than that, I've seen a little bit of fluctuation between my grow and my buddy's grow. That's flowering about 1,000 feet higher than me in elevation. His plants seem to be finishing quicker, but we're speaking outdoor as well. We're not speaking indoor, so it's a completely different bear.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, outdoor seems to be finishing earlier, which makes sense. You know, indoor, I can't find a hell of a lot of good indoor growers out here. Within driving distance, that's not in the state of Colorado. That's within reasonable driving distance. It seems scarce over here on the western slope. So trying to find and collect data regarding indoor growers that actually keep their data, and or have something to have some information to give is scarce. A lot of people out here, and this is where I was going to say earlier, but I kind of get stomped on, is that I'm proving it with my outdoor grow. I'm proving it with my indoor grow. All this splitting hairs of everything. Making sure your VPD is on point. Making sure your room is sealed. Making sure you have the right insulation. Making sure. While some of it is is necessary, I think that we as a community scare off a lot of entry level growers because of all of this data that we throw at them. We very rarely have a conversation regarding how easy this can be and how much you can, in some instances, completely neglect a garden and have it flourish. So I think we as a community need to work on not scaring off so much of the community, even with the processing and everything. We start talking about all the facilities costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. No, it doesn't. We can get you in for $1,000, guys, if that. You can do what you need to do. It doesn't have to be so much data driven, so much splitting hairs, so much freaking out. To me, it's just a lot of, while some of it is necessary, obviously, I think we take it way too far. Way too far.
Well, that's kind of the beauty of this plant is it can be grown on this massive spectrum and scale, right? And the spectrum is, in the end, it's a weed and it will grow anywhere on this planet just about, and does pretty damn good on its own. And you can see it year after year after year, and it's been around a long, long time. The other hand, we've got some really scientific people that are working on advancing it in a lot of different ways, and it's great to have them too. And then everything in between, and I'm certainly somewhere in between there.
Yeah,
Grow
no,
it how you want to grow it. That's the whole point
That's
of
the
it.
variable in philosophies, right?
and I don't think that there's enough discussion regarding how much things in your environment, whether it be pests or trying to deal with environmental difficulties, can be controlled with things that you can also grow, or have living, in a garden. You don't have to spray things necessarily. You don't have to have humidification and dehumidification um, machines necessarily. There's other ways around things. And that's kind of what I was getting at before is a dehumidification guy would say, you know, we can use other things. We can use, we can use other methods. But and that's what we've done at Eden.
I've never seen someone dehumidify without a dehumidifier, man.
Okay.
Wait, isn't that what reheat is?
It's a dehumidifier in different form. Still a machine.
What about your idea of exchanging air though? Wouldn't that also do it in a super dry environment
In
like Arizona?
certain instances, correct. Yep.
Yeah. So I think there's probably entire regions that could do that at certain scales, but not here in Michigan. And fucking,
No.
it was 89% humidity yesterday and like 77 today. Like good luck.
And I go from 0% to 100% throughout the year, and I go from -20 to 100 degrees. So without control, you can't grow all year. In my environment, you need control. And I've lived in Arizona, in Florida, in Texas, California. I've been all over and grown in every damn state. Michigan is one of the most challenging because we experience too many different climates.
Sometimes all in one day.
Yeah.
That's I've had manufacturer reps tell me that before, that they've always thought that Michigan has some of the best growers just because of how challenging it is. But then there's also like the deep levels of experience in different parts of the state, namely the Emerald Triangle, right? It's hard to compete with something like that too. Michigan is the true land of lakes. Minnesota likes to claim it, but
Yeah. Who was it we were talking to from Northern Michigan that was talking about, genetic selection for our climate? I wanted to say Smoky, but it wasn't Smoky.
I think it was sort of recent, wasn't it? Or have I just had this conversation recently?
But yeah, up here, I mean, that's my biggest challenge is the short season for outdoor. Without a cover over, there's not much I can do. Yeah. 52 lakes.
Just a couple of counties. Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying, just a real quick Google search shows the 8 humidity absorbing houseplants. Another one shows the top 15 humidity.
But you're talking about
absorbing
competing against
houseplants.
cannabis, which is a humidity emitting plant. You're
talking about breathing in a fucking room, which is a humidity, creating environment. And we're talking about plants that dehumidify. So you grow enough plants that dehumidify, and you've got a dehumidification helper.
Okay,
So
Pedro.
don't tell me.
That's fine.
Don't
Just
tell me that you've never
there you
heard
go.
of
You win,
plants.
Pedro. Go ahead.
Thank you.
You win.
Appreciate
You
it.
win. That's what you wanted.
That
You
is
know that's what you
exactly what I
wanted.
wanted. That's exactly what I wanted.
Jesus Christ, man, you are a child tonight.
So yes, plants can dehumidify a room. Just so you know.
I like what's been all over the internet today about Michigan and it's corn sweat and how we have so much corn in the Midwest that it's making this heat wave feel muggier. I think it might be a ploy to somehow it's anti-farming. There's some conspiracy in there somewhere, but I had to make the comment on Instagram. It's like almost every plant transpires. Like I know there's a few exceptions, but almost every plant transpires. Like it's not a weird thing just because we have a lot of crops in the one spot that are acting the same way. Like I don't know, isn't that what you guys expected?
I mean, cows fart too, right?
Right? Yeah. It's like yeah, you put a bunch of partiers in the same corner, you're gonna have a lot of farts.
Yeah, this corn sweat is kind of crazy.
I mean,
Virotranspiration at the same time. So you get a surge all at once.
yeah. I mean,
Which is exactly what happens with cannabis as well.
yeah, those
see
lights go off.
Yep. You can see it.
Corn sweat is a real thing, and it's making the Midwest unbearable. I don't know about this, guys.
Feels normal to me. But
in Michigan, at least.
Makes a good
Yeah.
story.
1 acre of corn can release 4,000 gallons of water per day. But what about like other plants that have that amount of leaf material in the same acre? I mean, these are just, it's like super dense 8 foot, 9 foot tall crops or whatever, you know. Most of it's stem and leaves coming off with obviously the fruit bearing portion as well. But I don't know. This just seems like a no brainer to me. And it seems like they're making a big deal out of it. And it seems like they're going to use it to try to like attack farmers or something. I don't know.
right, don't tell people to stop growing corn. We were just talking about putting up corn. I want to make a whole bunch of freezer corn. Having freezer corn in the winter is awesome.
I've never made freezer corn.
Super easy.
Yeah.
Just
Do you just vac
Cook
seal
it-
it or something or no?
cook it entirely, take it off the cob, put it in a bag, add some butter, take as much air out as you can, and freeze it.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Good
then you
for
just
what,
drop
like
it
a
in
year?
a pan and heat it up, basically.
Yeah. Corn is in everything. That's why we grow so much of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like number one ingredient in just about everything.
I've never had fun growing corn. I always feel like it takes too much of my garden, and it ends up too short, or I don't know. I've never had good luck with corn. It's just one thing that has always fought me.
Well, I mean, are you growing the Bayer Monsanto corn that's, you know, genetically modified to
Approved
be
corn.
Yeah. That's one of the things. It's like you could just it stands out when you see those seeds next to like something you buy at like, you know, whatever the Burpee or whatever brand, something like that, you know, just
Yeah,
one of the
the,
common grocery store ones. It's totally different. I mean, I'll plant the same bag of corn seeds next to each other, you know, in a couple rows, and I'll have all varieties of different heights. They're so inconsistent in compared to like a GMO seed.
Right. One of those where you just get that flat field.
Mm-hmm.
I just
Super
don't have enough
crop
sun
naturally.
at my. I have too many trees.
Yeah,
I
gotta
have
knock
enough.
them down, grow some more corn.
Yep, there we go.
Shit,
Take out my forest.
I've been sitting here for like 3 minutes. I thought I was back.
Oh,
I was
welcome back.
listening to the corn conversation. I agree. It takes up too much. To me, takes up too much goddamn room and takes too
Too
much
hard
water.
to grow for me.
Just-
I
for like 12 years of corn at the
Right.
end of the day, you know.
That's what I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
I
That's what I
get a
said, I'm like,
barbecue, you know.
I want to find a farmer that has a field of good corn and just buy a bushel. That's how I want my corn to come, in a fucking brown bag.
Back to
Not a,
back to what we were talking. I don't remember we were talking about the grocery store or what the fuck we were talking about, but buying local, you know, if somebody would grow or raise a cow and somebody would fucking grow some corn and somebody would you know, have some
Mhm.
chickens, you know, we could all just trade shit. Of course there'd be some monetary trade as well, you know, in the form of other things, but
Other
we could
crops.
we could avoid this government interface as much as we don't.
Sounds like you're trying to start an intentional community over there, Pedro.
I don't know.
Where are you gonna get your plot of land at? Is it gonna be up in the hills in Colorado, or are you coming to Michigan in the UP?
I gotta wait for home
that's what's nice
appreciation.
about up here is, I mean, on my, I don't know, quarter mile, you'll find 5 signs of people selling eggs. Um, every other weekend, a local farm shows up in a parking lot here in town, just has all their produce. Just go and grab whatever you need. You can buy meat shares from them too. We didn't do meat shares from them. We just go to actually the place in town is all local farmers. So at least it's local meat. But it's a lot easier to do it when you're outside the big city.
When I go down to those, you know, farmers markets, whatnot, I have a great time. I just, for whatever fucking reason, forget that they're there, you know. And I feel like if more people actually knew that they were there and visited, they would take off and people would supply them a lot more than they do. Because now I feel like when you go to a farmer's market, it's kind of getting scarce, so there's not as much available, you know, on the buyer side.
We're gonna have to have Red Setter and Beck on for Rosemary's Oasis. They've been doing some farmers markets this year, and it's pretty interesting to talk to them about it. You know, because it's a very obviously similar style to our cannabis type events. Obviously, just different products, but
It's a lot of work, man. A lot of work.
which part, the vending or the farming?
Both.
Yeah, the people
Both.
up here, like this farm that comes to us, I mean, they're in a different small town UP. They probably go maybe an hour and a half radius and they hit all the little towns, 1 day a week type of thing. So yeah, they're always on the road. And then when they're not on the road, they're working the fields and getting stuff ready. It's pretty wild. They're just a small family. We watched them build the whole system from the ground up. It was pretty cool. They're new within, I don't know, 5 years maybe.
I saw a comment the other day that mentioned your town and the police in that town. How what's I mean, you don't have to share your opinion, but what's the general feel about
We don't have cops in our town.
it? So is it just Michigan State troopers or county
Yeah.
police?
Yeah. State and sheriff.
Okay. So I wonder if
County
it's
sheriff.
just like the certain ones that patrol the area or something that maybe someone's had problems with. I don't know.
Yeah,
It was just
probably.
like a random comment. It must have been on like Reddit or something, you know, it was just like, or maybe Instagram. I don't know, one of those
I
random.
love all our cops. I mean, I was pulled over when I was coming up to look at houses here. I crossed the bridge.
Who's this new guy?
And was white knuckled across the bridge. First time driving it by myself. It's nighttime. So as soon as I got across the bridge, I'm like, fuck this. And I packed a bowl and I'm smoking a bowl. And I just put it away. And I passed it's 10 o'clock in the middle of the UP. There's no cars on the road. Then I passed a car. And he flipped around and turned on his lights, pulled me over, asked me if I knew how fast I was going. I said, yes, sir. I was going 65 miles an hour. He said, you know what the speed limit is? I said, since you're asking me, it's probably not 65 miles an hour. He said, it's a 2-lane highway, so it's 55. I was like, so sorry. Let me go.
Nice.
Saw him 3-4 times after I bought the house. Cool dude. Like, all the cops have been nice. I mean, we have some pretty rowdy locals, I guess,
Okay.
and tourists can get a little crazy at the bars and
Of
whatnot,
course.
so cops are here sometimes, but usually it's just people sorting stuff out.
What about DNR? I know the
Oh.
UPers love the DNR.
Yeah. The first time I went out smelting, I had a little old guy standing out there. He's about 85 years old, and he had one of those giant, 10 million candle power flashlights. And it was just turned off. And someone goes, "Hey, is that the DNR over there?" He turns around all slow, hits that light, and just spotlights him. Goes, "Yep, that's the Gestapo." Turns off the light and just shuffles around and turns back. So that's the locals' name for him. Yeah, they're not.
The Gestapo. Jeez.
Not fans of up here, but
Are they called? It's BLM out there, right? In Colorado, Bureau of Land Management.
Yeah, Bureau of Land Management.
Okay. Are they? Do they have a kind of like good reputation where you're at, or is it like more or less like they're just there to annoy all the?
No, from in my experience, they're not there to annoy. They're not there to even really talk to you if they don't have to. But man, if they have to, number one, they have to, and number two, they will, and number three, it ain't gonna necessarily be good. They're very stern when they have to be, because they only talk to you when they really need to talk to you. So there's generally a reason, unless they're wrong.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, if they stop you and talk to you, they've got a reason to, and generally it's obviously not a good reason to. So, but yeah, otherwise I think they've got a pretty chill, in my experience.
Yeah, most of ours are pretty nice people, but
I still don't.
They will mess with you if you.
Yeah, I'm of the, if you have a badge, I do not associate with you. That's just the way I work, but yeah, they seem to be very chill. Now the city cops and whatnot, there seems to be a lot of complaints regarding, they're looking for work. They're begging for street cops, for what do they call them?
Beat cops or
beat cop. I don't know what they call them anymore, but
patrol traffic cops.
There you go. Maybe the patrols. Anyways, and so it seems like maybe they're rushing people through the system, and then you get some harassment. But there's also some places out here that kind of deserve that harassment. So I don't know. I've never been harassed really. So
I've noticed the police force seem to have gotten very young in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I guess I can kind of say that.
I think a lot of the old guys retired recently and kind of get it, I think.
I do a lot of driving out here. We drive to Parachute, which is a 100-mile one-way drive 3 times a week. And so we see a lot of state patrol, we go through a lot of towns, so we see a lot of city cops. And pretty much as long as you're not doing what you're not supposed to be doing, not being an idiot, you're not going to get messed with. We don't speed. We're never the fastest person on the road.
It's always a good rule. Let them take the ticket. You have at it, guy.
But no, for the most part, if you're just not an idiot driver, not disobeying the general traffic laws. But again, I don't trust. I don't associate. I stay at a friendly distance.
I heard a funny thing once. It was like people that are like their drug of choice is psychedelics. They tend to like hide away from the cops, and then the people that are doing like amphetamines are like going at the cops. Seems to somewhat hold true.
It took me till I was like 35 or so to realize Like if I just stopped doing dumb shit, I stopped getting in trouble as much. So I just stopped doing dumb shit. I set the cruise control like maybe 2 miles an hour above. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get there when I get there. I'm fine.
Stop being so noticeable.
Yeah,
You know?
just sit and drive.
I sold my Audi and bought a fucking Toyota. You know, it's so much better as far as not being
Oh,
seen.
when I used to drive my bright blue, like fully body kit Mercury Cougar, that thing was just pull me over every week color. And then I got like the Jeep, and you never get pulled over in it. Like, no, they don't even look.
Yeah, I suppose I can imagine that would probably be the same instance out here because there's so many
Right.
fucking Jeeps. And the funny thing is that, and I'm just speaking out of my ass, but I would assume that it's greater than 50% of the Jeeps in this area will never see a mountain trail.
Oh, wow. Most of our Jeeps have seen a trail up here.
Yeah, a lot of them out here we've got Montrose is turning into it, but we've got, Uray and Ridgeway and Silverton and Telluride, for Christ's sakes, and Aspen, and then there's just a lot of people there that will drive a Jeep because it's Colorado. Number one, I guess around here you do get a lot of snow and it drives good on the streets as well. But as far as being used for what a Jeep's supposed to be used for,
I'm surprised you guys both aren't saying Subaru.
Subis are what we see a lot of out here as well.
Yeah, there's a couple here in town.
For people
I've
that
seen a lot in the UP.
Yes, for people that want just the traction and whatnot and driving and get a little bit of maybe that what do they call it, the compact or I think it's called a compact SUV. You can get a little bit of ground clearance. I think they come in like a 7 or 8 inch ground clearance, and they've got the all-wheel drive. But from what I've learned from having the Audi, every goddamn repair was so fucking expensive. I had to replace the turbo one time. I had to replace all the entire brake system on the thing. It was just a fucking trap, it seemed. And I don't know if Subis are the same. I call them Subis, but I don't know if Subarus are the same out. But I'm scared of them. So I genuinely sold my Audi and bought a Toyota.
I was convinced on Subarus when my friend, I think it's a WRX. I don't know. I always get the freaking 3-letter ones, STX, WRX, whatever.
Yeah.
One of those fast ones, right? But like also has all-wheel drive. We're going snowboarding one year, just flying down the expressway at 70 miles per hour in like 7 inches of snow. Everyone else is doing 25. This car was handling it like a champ. And I'm like, I was blown away. Really was blown away.
Yeah, they're crazy in the snow.
Yeah, winter tires and everything, but it was fucking awesome.
The Audi, I always have a problem pronouncing that word. Did great in the snow, but it didn't have any ground clearance.
Right? Oh yeah.
Fucking sat on the ground. There was nothing at all. But the what do they call it? The Quattro, I think, is their all-wheel drive system. It was kind of nice. Now I've got we're getting off cannabis now, but I got a goddamn hybrid. Generates its own electricity and uses its own electricity when it needs it. And I don't know if I'm sold on it yet, but I seem to be getting decent gas mileage on it so far. And
do you know what kind of mileage again?
I'm getting 30 to 32.
Okay.
With the Audi, I was getting 30 to 34, depending. It's funny. Obviously, you're going to get different gas mileage going one direction versus the other because you're going uphill more one way than you are the other way. But 30, 32, 34, which isn't horrible.
I've never owned a car that got over 30.
No.
I upgraded to the Trailhawk when I came up here. So got the bottom.
That's the Jeep
Trailhawk. Yeah. So it's got the bottom skid plate and more ground clearance.
4-door?
Yeah, 4-door.
Perfect.
Little dial. You put it in snow mode, and that thing is fun as fuck.
Oh no shit.
Oh yeah. You
A
can
lot
whip
of
it around like it's a little sports car. Sometimes it's
a lot of
fun.
these things have these new modes.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know, they're
Well,
kind of.
it's got like a 13-speed transmission, and I mean,
Christ.
yeah, it's
I thought the 8-speed in the Audi was a lot.
ridiculous.
Oh,
But it's also got like rock crawling mode, which it's never been in, where
Right.
it literally goes 1 or 2 miles an hour, and you use the dial to control the speed.
oh wow.
And then so you don't touch the brake or the gas at all. You use the dial to control the speed, and then you just steer.
hmm
That's cheating.
Yeah, really weird stuff. Like, but I
There's
have
like a-
bottomed it out before, and I've had it water over the hood.
Oh wow.
She's fun. Our
I got
trails get a
those-
little nasty.
I got those dials on my car, but I haven't really got to use really too many of the modes yet. I know there's like a mud and deep roots or something like that mode. There's snow mode and
Oh,
sport
sand-
mode, of course.
See, and that's,
Sand mode is fun.
and that's what I was
Yeah.
kind of saying is a lot of these people have these vehicles with these capabilities and they never use them to their full capabilities.
Yeah.
You know what? Sand mode, I have got to use
I'm
that one, and
guilty.
that was up by you.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
guilty, but
dude, our trails are the most powdery beach sand, and if you
Mhm.
can come around a corner and you hit the gas just a little bit, you will sink a fucking foot, and you're done. Like it's wild up here. I mean, we're just a giant sand dune. So
Yeah, I like to drive with one wheel on the middle where there's
You
some
gotta-
grass.
keep something. So when I first came up with my cousin, we were staying back at the cabin about 10 miles down a trail up here. We come up and we're going, and it was my first time at the new cabin, and the road starts off as just a road, dirt road. And he's like, okay, and turn here, goes to a 2-track. Around the next corner, it goes even smaller. Next corner gets a little smaller. And then he's like, okay, we got one more corner and then a hill to go. We turned the corner and it got a quarter of the way up the hill, and we just slid off and stopped. We got completely stuck. We're like 9 miles back. Oh, you're muted.
Was it muddy or something?
Yeah. It
Okay.
was the first, not everything was thawed. So there was still snow
Oh, okay.
plus
Yeah.
the mud. So it was like the worst time ever to come up.
Yeah.
We ended up having to abandon the vehicle.
No
We had
shit.
a pizza with us from town, so we were carrying a hot pizza through the woods. All our gear.
we got to get back to cannabis though. We're smoking a bowl the whole time, right? Got at least smoking a bowl or thinking about it. They're thinking about
Oh,
it.
he had a pizza, of course.
Yeah. I mean, that was the whole point, was to stay warm and get high, but it became staying warm was more important that night. It
Oh,
was cold as
jeez.
fuck.
Have you guys ever, in your spelunking through the woods, have you guys ever come across anyone else's grow ever before, or know someone that's had that experience?
I never have.
You have?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Up here it's pretty common on the depending on where you're at. Like you end up knowing whose it was. But yeah, just stumbling across trails and like, how come that trail's all of a sudden matted down? When you ride these trails every day, you notice when something's different. And you're like, wait a minute, why'd someone go that way? Well, I've never been that way. Let's go. You just start going, and all of a sudden there's like, holy crap, someone cleared a whole field here, and there's a greenhouse set up, and
Jeez.
like they'll just do random crap like that out. I mean, because you've seen how our woods are, where some of those fields, like the blueberry fields especially, where it's just not a lot of trees and just a bunch of ferns. You
Mhm.
can knock the ferns down with your feet and they snap right off. You got
Mhm.
flat ground.
A lot of what would be available to grow in like that, and to be favorable. God, I'm stoned, dude. Would be in higher elevations. Would be things that would be to access them. I mean, you'd have to live with them, and
You have to have
then
water, I think,
Ye-
would be, right?
yeah,
That's
and,
your-
and you're so high in elevation to have any land that's favorable for that. I'm just going to avoid that word anymore. And if you get lower in elevation, you're talking about canyons. You're talking about more desert lands. Because man, you want to talk. We have quite a wide variety of environments here. You know, we go from the high alpine to the high forests, you know, the 9,000-10,000 foot forest, all the way down to the 4,000, 5,000 foot canyons and desert lands.
And how, I mean, how like remote is places there nowadays, right? Like, is
Right.
everything visited by people? Like, how
I
hidden?
mean,
I mean, I guess there's if you find enough forest, right?
yeah, I mean, you've really got to find a big, section of land.
Like once you're talking the criteria, you said the
Yeah,
sun, you need the water, you need, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, and it can't have a fucking trail near it.
yeah,
Like,
and so let's lay that out. To not be visited, to be comfortable, to be not be visited all the time, I'd probably want to be 5-10 miles back. 5 minimally, probably closer to 10. And in order to get 10 miles back, you're just gonna live there, and then you've got to have everything you need: the sunshine, the water, the nutrients, the whatever whatever you're going to use to
Generator,
grow,
fuel.
whatever whatever you
Yeah.
need to have there. I mean, of course you can run out here and there, but to find that plot of land anymore, yeah, you're right, it's getting a little,
I mean,
and
even up here, that's a rarity, you know.
and everybody needs a fire, right? Everybody needs to cook, so you start producing smoke, and with the fire watch out here anymore, you have smoke, and fuck, dude, now you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So you really got to try to hide your smoke as well, which there's ways to do as well, but you just got to be cognizant of
Speaking of, I
those things.
walked out my door tonight just before the show, and my whole side of my yard, everything's just full of smoke.
Oh shit.
What the hell? And you just smell it. It's like, oh, someone's got a campfire, and it's extremely smoky. And we're on high fire watch right now.
Burning rubber.
Like
Wet wood,
it was just wet wood, I think. It was
Yeah.
just super smoky. And it was just lit the way I'm so close to the water and everything that the smoke just hangs. It's like a low fog. And there was no wind tonight. So lake was still, that smoke's just gonna sit there.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna smoke a bowl, right? While we're just trying to bring it back to variables.
I've got you. I've never walked on someone's stumbled upon someone's grow hiking or even driving. I don't think anything like that. But and everything you guys mentioned, it would take an experienced pilot 2 minutes to find you, because with drones, I have stumbled upon.
I've
grows
never
before.
thought about drones.
And I'm talking like 48 50-gallon, maybe 80-gallon pots or something, like all like hidden and shit. You're just like, and then this thought goes through your mind: whose grow might this be? And you fucking get the hell out of there.
Yeah,
you know,
dude. Yeah,
go home.
yeah, yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Pretend
just
I
it.
didn't
And
see
drones are so common now.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, they've got
you're never really remote anymore.
Like 400 times zoom on these that can see miles away. They've got thermal cameras. They've got infrared and night vision, and they've got cameras like that will detect gas from 1,000 meters away, like methane and shit like that.
Think about doing it, then like it seems like the risk.
Is the risk worth the reward?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the thing, though. The risk is less to just do it on your own property in your own backyard now. It's like, why even take the risk and spend all that time doing it up in the hills? And I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
so nice about, but man, even those restrictions are tough. Like if you follow it.
As long as you have them in an enclosed area that is locked, that is inaccessible to minors, you're okay. Which does obviously raise its complications, because you start closing things off, then you start talking about humidity and heat increasing dramatically.
talking about that, what's the lowest? So my head goes to like with those dog cages.
Like
Is that
kennel.
Oh, so
yeah?
you're talking just like a fence
Yeah.
type thing, like a
Would
chain
that
fence?
suffice though for the
In
law?
Michigan, yes.
It does.
Yes. As long as it has a lock on it, in Michigan, that's a closed and locked
Is your
facility.
cop cool? You
Yeah.
know,
The
like I
state
guess
police have said that it's a closed and locked
I
facility.
would
so-
assume that there's probably a height restriction, you know, because my fence out here is the lowest fence I've ever seen, dude. It's probably 3 foot high, like it's
Oh, wow.
really really low. All the fences that I've you know had experience with back in the day were the at least chest
Privacy.
high or so, you know. Yeah, and the man, this brings me to an interesting one. We Dizzy and I were trying to follow those restrictions when we first moved into the house that we purchased, that we were living in, that you saw all the production in. And so we built I think it was, I don't know, 15 by 15 square privacy fence area to grow in. So it's just blocked off with that, the privacy fence with the gate. And we failed so horribly, dude. It got so fucking hot in that little environment. But
That's the hard part, is the not visible, right?
yeah,
So that's what
would
traps it. Yeah.
I would assume the non-visible.
Yeah. Is that because like I think we have the same restriction, but like for me, I would just
you bring that up and I'm like, I don't know. Or I go to rate 2, I don't know. I don't think. Maybe. I don't know. That's an interesting one. That brings up an interesting complication.
I thought that Michigan still had that restriction too. And if so, I mean, but like for me,
Now-
where I'm already off the road, it wouldn't be visible to the public eye.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So I
me
could
being in
use
the
a van.
backyard, my 2 neighbors might be able to see it. Is that
Yeah,
how visible is that? Like.
But could you do like the cage and then 3 feet away do a screen privacy fence type that blocks it?
Right.
Like, instead of
Or
building
if,
it,
or if you have a privacy fence around your entire property, but maybe it has a little grade change here and there, and your neighbors can see up and over the right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I got a 2-story house next door. I can see right over your fence.
Variables.
Yeah, you don't train your plants, and all of a sudden you got a 10-footer and it's over your fence. Like now it's visible to everybody.
Yeah, right there. My Mrs. Furoli just walked in with a fresh baked cookie with.
Oh,
she said a lot of oil in it. She could taste it.
Yeah, I took my
one bite taken out of it.
I took my cat before the show, and you can I've fucking probably taken about 5 dabs on the show too, and my eyes are
so
definitely. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. That's where I'm thinking too. I don't think there's written stipulation that it has to be out of view, but I again, I don't want to speak to it because I really just don't know. But I do know it's supposed to be closed and supposed to be inaccessible to minors behind a locked door, minimally.
I remember the lock, because when we're doing the greenhouse, that's one thing we're making sure is that we're actually putting a manufactured door on it, so I don't have to deal with. I don't want a padlock, something stupid,
Sure.
It
was really kind of funny because I was thinking of out in my backyard here putting up. we had acquired some. What we learned was ocean netting, like drag netting, whatever, like nylon, super thick nylon netting, rolls of it. 12 foot wide or so, and they'd sew them together or stitch them together. I don't really
That's awesome.
know, but really tough material. But it's funny that we had a greenhouse, 16 by 48, I think is what it was, and just had the plastic over top, right? And that was fine. That was locked, concealed, blah blah blah, inaccessible. But I think if I was to use the other material, it might not be legal
Mm.
because of I don't know.
But could you do plastic like up 6 foot and then do the
Right.
netting over the
Right.
arch? Like, could you mix it? Because having that netting would be great, exposing, I mean, it's not like you're lacking sunshine where you're at.
No.
So, I mean,
Interestingly enough, where they're at in the backyard right now, they do only get about half of the day's worth of sun, just being in the backyard. And they're rather close to the house because I'm trying to be inconspicuous. I'm trying to be respectful, if you will. I've already had a conversation with both of my backyard neighbors, regarding it, just so that they knew and didn't freak out and were okay. And but man, it's gonna be a stinky next month. It's
yeah.
gonna be so interesting because I've always kind of grown. I guess when I grew back in Madison, I kind of just vented everything outside and used a lot of filters and whatnot, But out here, I've just done a lot of outdoor growing, so I haven't really had to worry about much of that at all, And it's legal out here to grow indoors, so you just vent it out, don't have to worry about that at all. But we were on, it was either a half or a 1 acre. I don't recall exactly what it was. I know that's stupid of me, but anyways, it was on a big enough acreage that I didn't have to worry about it. Now I'm out here, in the city, and gonna be just flooding the neighborhood. And there's a couple officers in the neighborhood, so
Just I mean, I don't know if it's the officers you got to worry about. It's the Karens, man, because they in Michigan and several communities in recent years have passed ordinances saying that you can't grow outside unless you have 5 acres or more, for example.
sure. I don't think it's quite like that, but yeah,
because of the smell and stuff. And it started in some of these communities because of people just blowing up their backyards with 12 or less plants, like they're legally allowed to do, but it's so dank that they got neighbors pissed off for months.
Yeah, these are 3, but they're tried and true strains. Cultivate.
I do want to make a comment about this comment you brought up here. Red Setter said, I don't believe, I think he says, top has to be enclosed just out of view to the unaided eye. The law does state that the plants must be grown in a secure, enclosed area that's not visible to the public without use of like binoculars, aircraft, drones, or optical aids. But the definition of enclosed is one of those in which the officer, the DA, the judge, the jury could all probably kind of determine on their own, because it has a variable definition. An enclosed yard could just mean a fenced-in yard. Doesn't mean a fence over top. It doesn't mean a 8-foot privacy fence or a 3-foot chain link fence. It just means it's enclosed. It's fenced in. But if you think about an enclosed porch, well, that's got a roof on it, right? That's got 3-4 walls or whatever, So that's fully enclosed. You can enclose something in an envelope and seal it, right? Like it's that enclosed, and if it's not sealed, I don't know. So it's just one of those things where, and honestly, in my own experience, like I mentioned the state police previously, there was an instance in which there was a 4-foot dog-like kennel fence around some plants, and they came by and said, no, you got to put a top on that. There was, that's all they did is, let us know. But
at least they just let you know.
Yeah, I mean, this was years ago though, so I don't know if anything's changed on that. But that was on all sides. But does that mean the top?
It's true. That is still a little ambiguous, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They can, and that's honestly, like, most laws I feel like are intentionally written that way so that they can selectively enforce things, which is most of our justice system, I feel like. But hey, it's the country we live in. It's not all that bad.
It's funny. When I moved up here, once rec went live, I'm like, I'm done filtering. So no more carbon filters. They were gone.
Yeah.
exhaust
no,
everything outside. I'm like, you know what? I live on a large chunk of land. I've got forests surrounding me on 3 sides, a big lake. And then we built a giant chicken coop. I'm like, come on. And then right the first year after the chicken coop was my first really big full harvest under rec. And you could smell it about a quarter mile down the road when you were coming up towards the house.
100%.
The
Yeah.
lake blows from the lake to my house, takes all that smell, says chicken shit's not strong enough for this, and right to the highway. And
Yeah, I can believe that.
first time someone came over and they're like, damn. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
There's just not much.
Nose
I mean,
blind.
if you're in a greenhouse, I suppose, now we're going back to enclosed environments. If you're in a greenhouse, maybe you can filter your stuff. But if you're in a greenhouse, aren't you conspicuous enough that you're not worried about just venting, unless you're trying to be respectful to the
I wonder if
neighbors.
you could build like a flipping chimney if it was a large facility, just vent it like straight up.
And even through some filters potentially, or just high enough. Because I don't think that I've heard people argue this high, oh, it's vented 20 feet up in the air, and I'm like, yeah, but it fucking 30 yards down the, or
It
your
doesn't
neighbors,
blow right back down,
like,
you know?
like I don't believe that.
Yeah, there's like OSHA regulations and industrial regulations and all that kind of stuff about how those smokestacks need to be, and that's just
Smoke
it.
is, I think, a different animal. I think it acts as a different animal. I don't know that. I don't know that smells that VOCs disperse at.
It depends on whether or not they're heavier or lighter than air too, right? So if they're heavier than air, then yeah, it doesn't really matter how high up you get them, they're just coming back down. But if they're lighter than air, then yeah, like just absolutely get them above everyone's head, and then all you gotta do is worry about the atmosphere, at that point. Not everybody down here.
Right, just cows farting.
Get in an airplane and hit the terp layer in the atmosphere.
Right. There's too much D11, we're going down.
Get a little turbulence.
This fucking guy. There we are.
Terpnadoes.
Terpnado.
Now you just rip it off Sharknado.
Well, yeah.
Hurricane. It's like
I was trying to figure out how I could make hurricane work, and I just couldn't.
They already did it with Slurricane, I think.
Did you say Herpicane?
No, Hurricane.
Oh,
that's a totally different industry.
Oh well, things happen.
We got some turbulence.
Yeah.
It's that
when
cap.
it reminds me of the greenhouse that was glowing purple, making the sky glow for miles around.
What was the greenhouse?
A greenhouse.
Oh,
it was using purple lights overnight when they needed an extra couple hours of light, and it just was so much light. It just was lighting up the sky for miles.
There's like strawberry greenhouses and shit that do that too, though. You know what I mean? Like it's not usually purple lights. Usually
right.
It was funny. We were just talking about this the other day when the first outdoor hemp just went legal here in Colorado. Was it back in 2020 or 2019, something like that? And there was just fucking grows you drive down, and instead of seeing a cornfield, it'd be a hemp field. It was like, holy shit, there's just cannabis every fucking where. And so you're talking about the greenhouses and whatnot. Yeah, you saw them, but more so you just saw holy shit cornfields of cannabis, and it's all just the CBD and whatnot. But it was very interesting.
It was funny. I was still in Detroit when the law was passed here, and I remember 8 Mile within 3-4 months had like 30 or 40 dispensaries just appear, and a weed college, a cannabis college appeared, billboards all over. And you're like, wait a minute, like they're not issuing license, like none of this shit's going yet. Like every one of them was just illicit. But I mean, that's when we had, excuse me, what was it, 420 Dank. I mean, great names for all of them. We had
That was going on years before rec came on. That
it
happened
was right
once
after medical, wasn't it?
Yeah,
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 it was after medical,
yeah.
and
Because
then it was
but what side of the street was it on? Superior, because it was not on the north side. Because 8
right.
Mile splits Wayne County and Macomb County, and on that north side is a totally different police force that is not having any of that, and Detroit just wasn't enforcing it. So the south side 8 Mile, yeah, you go
It was
eastbound.
crazy how bad it was. Like, just all of a sudden, it was overnight. It felt like.
You say it was bad, like it was a bad thing though.
Did you did you ever go through one of them?
Yeah, I vended
Yeah.
at them.
Oh
They were
no,
fighting over my product.
no, that's not what I was seeing in the ones I was going to.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I couldn't supply them all, but
Right. No, I mean, and I was smoking flower at the time too.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it was rough.
Yeah, I think most of them are probably just doing their own warehouse grows and putting out their own product, you know what I mean? But they were,
That
after a few years, they started, it was the industry was getting built,
yeah, by that time I was back to growing my own. I
Mhm.
was when it first started, I had just moved into the new place and hadn't set back up, and yeah, wasn't a fan when they first popped up. It was a little sketchy.
Yeah, well, that was definitely part of it. It's not like nowadays where there's, well, I guess a lot of them did have security guards now that I think
Yeah.
about it, but
Yeah, but there was also a lot of stuff
you
happening in all the
parking
parking
in an
lots.
alley and yeah. If there
Yeah.
was a parking lot, you
And
might
the
be on the
one that had the
street.
drive-through was probably your best bet, but the worst part is just getting blocked in because it was like an old hot now style drive-through where you can't go anywhere if there's a car in front and behind.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Detroit.
Yep.
It's funny. I was born and raised in Wisconsin, and I left when I was, when did I leave? 2010. So I was 20 or 29 years old, and I never spent much time in Michigan at all, like at all. I think I went down around the lake a couple times, but
You got a big old UP to drive through to get to, you got
right.
there's I
And-
mean
Takes
and
a
then-
long
there's just
time
not
to get
much.
through it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's face it, and let's be honest. I think a lot of what the UP brings, and what Michigan, I always think of
You already
Michigan.
had it there, right? In
Yeah,
Wisconsin.
you already
Yeah.
had it in
And
Upper
then
Wisconsin.
if you're looking for big city, you're going south to Chicago or
Yeah.
Green Bay, or you've got other big cities, not Detroit, to go to.
Yeah, I'm just.
It's funny. It's like we heard the other day. It was something like no one from Michigan has a vacation home in Ohio, right? And it's kind of the same way. We don't have no one in Michigan vacations in Wisconsin, and no one in Wisconsin vacations in Michigan, right? It's
Right.
they're kind of the same thing, really.
It's funny though. The people from Wisconsin will vacation in upper northern Minnesota.
Oh,
It's like,
is that up north from Wisconsin?
It's yeah, well, depending on where you go, but yeah, you can
But I
get,
feel like it.
you can get further north than northern Wisconsin. But it honestly much further than that was just too fucking cold for me. And even in the growing environments, I mean, it changes fucking everything. It changes everything. I mean, you're probably, I look at my watch to see the date, but you're probably 2 weeks from fucking snow.
Yeah, we're gonna have color change within the next week or two. So leaves will start changing pretty heavily in the next week or two.
Will you have an occasional oh shit flurry, or will it wait? Or
Not usually. The lake balances us, so the lake is kind of my
Yeah, you got to go west for that.
equalizer here. So it'll be sometimes you'll see flurries on Halloween type of thing, but usually it's more likely to be rain on Halloween. But anytime after that, who knows? Last year it wasn't till the end of December or some shit till we got really.
you see
Or
out
was that June?
here, it's elevation,
Right.
We could absolutely be getting snow up in the mountains already, above 10,000 feet. And that's why I think, like I said, right here we're about a mile high, and my buddy that's growing outdoors is about another 1,000 feet ish above me, and he's finishing before me. Started a little bit before me, and is finishing before me. This sounds like it's going really down a wrong road. Anyways, back on track. I think it's obviously elevation based, but I don't know if it's elevation based as in like pressure, or if it's as in environment, like weather and whatnot. I'll be right back.
I think it's every 1,000 feet of elevation is a 2 degree Celsius drop in temperature too, above sea level. So I mean, yeah, you're talking about 4 or 5 or whatever degrees Fahrenheit change in temperature, most likely. Between him and his buddy, and that might not sound like a lot, but maybe another 1,000 feet or two, and compared to where we're at, like, yeah, it's
That's the
a big
difference between a
difference.
frosty night and a not frosty night, though, too, and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the difference between your tomatoes dying 2 weeks earlier than they're supposed to. And
Exactly. I mean, we've had, I think our coldest, we were down super low 50s. I want to say we might have touched into the 40s last week.
Mhm.
I woke up and had to put the heat on, and then
Oh
it was
wow, really?
yeah, and then it was 80 degrees that day. But it was like 50 in my freaking office.
Yeah,
So
damn. That's crazy because we've definitely had some cooler nights like that. Definitely in the low 50s, and I think we got into the 40s maybe once. But I think this coming week we're supposed to drop back down in like the high 40s for the nighttime lows. Hit like 88 or 87 or something today, of course. But
tomorrow it's supposed to be our warm day.
really,
It's like 80 degrees tomorrow.
We're what we consider high desert here, so we generally have that um, high 20 to 30 degree percent, humidity, sometimes down in the 15s. But recently it's been raining so much that we've been hot and muggy. It's actually been feeling like back in Wisconsin when it was always hot and muggy. So our humidity range can fluctuate pretty considerably. Um, Obviously based on how much rain we have, but we're basically a high desert, and we've got a lot of adobe, mud, dirt out here, which is something, man. When you start getting into with the vehicle, like a Jeep or something, fuck, man, gets heavy.
I think I have a solution for you guys in the high desert and maybe Arizona, like we talked about earlier. Why don't you guys just grow more corn? Get that corn sweat going.
Raise that humidity.
You have to,
Geoengineered with 100 acres of corn.
yeah, drain the Colorado River just to transpire it into the air via corn. Oh,
That's, if you think about it, it really is just redirecting a big river to a bunch of really tiny capillary rivers.
that's what I'm saying, dude.
I was just gonna say, don't even get me into where they're sending all our fucking water.
California.
Yeah.
Everywhere out west and south of you.
Oh, so happy to live on a giant block of fresh water. Speaking of, we just had a water test 2 weeks ago. So replacing our water softener, it's completely plugged up, and so we have low water pressure, and it sucks when you're trying to start a wildflower meadow. But watering it's been a challenge.
Can you bypass the water softener for like a hose for the meadow?
I could, but
you should. It's a lot less strain on that thing.
Well, we have pretty acidic water because of the pine runoff.
Oh, really?
So we only have 125 total TDS, parts per million. But it's like 0.8 parts per million of iron and 0.6 is tannins, but it's the tannins that are making it acidic.
What kind of pH you're talking?
What is it? 7.4, 7. 7.3,
That's-
something like that. It's not horrible,
Yeah.
but
Isn't that more base than acidic?
well, wait. Damn it. See, now I'm and I have a freaking gnat in my face. They have been all over this year.
It sucks when you got to do this math shit live and you
Fuck. I stopped doing that at 5 p.m. on Fridays.
Yeah, Red Setter always told me not to do math live. I think it was him.
Well, Pedro and I tried that. I had the notepad out and everything. I had to write it down so I didn't forget what we just said 2 seconds before.
it was comical in itself.
Like just trying for us to keep up with what we were talking about.
Like, I think we reset ourselves like 3 times. We're like, wait, let's go back.
Like, wait. Making this harder than it fucking needs to be. Let's change the numbers so they're divisible by 10.
Yeah, rounding. It makes
We
it
try
easy.
doing that a lot when we're pressing rosin. We're starting to extrapolate numbers and stuff. Who I was going to start over with, like, wait. Where were we? Yeah.
Fred's got my back.
Yeah, that's that data collection shit. If you don't do it like as it's going, or you don't have some sort of like computer like tracking it for you, man, it's too much. It just becomes too much. I don't have like photographic memory or whatever. So
I used to have an amazing memory, and then I got old. And
That'll
it's
happen.
been one of those things like literally within the past 2 years, there'd be times where I'll go, I have to think about that for a minute. And I shouldn't have to think about that. That's something I've known my whole fucking life. Like, wait a minute.
Oh, it wasn't like a fleeting thought. It was something important because that's
yeah.
My
Yeah,
memory over the last 2 years, my on the spot memory is dwindling dramatically.
It's not a fun feeling, like going wait and having to stop and think. And then I did it with the wife the other day. We were talking and I said something and then I said something else. And then I went, shit, what did I just say again? She had to remind me. And there's the gnat again.
Get it.
At least it's not a mosquito, dude.
Right. Our mosquitoes, I swear they're dead right now. We've been great with that this year.
We've been
But-
horrible because we've had the rain.
So we've had our planting that we've done is for mosquito control. It's for erosion control. It's for bringing bees and butterflies. Like everything has a purpose. It either feeds us, feeds the animals, feeds the soil.
Holds soil.
Holds the soil that we try to build, right? Like, because it's crazy. I planted a patch that was on damn near a 45-degree slope of sand and laid it all out, laid out some soil, put some deep rooting sedge grass in. It's now rooted all the way through into the sand. It's probably 8 to 10 inches tall.
Nice.
And that whole side has stopped eroding.
And then that dead grass and everything, as long as it gets enough rain. And what are you going to worry about rain there? As long as it gets enough moisture and whatnot, the dead grass is just going to regenerate and probably make that whole fucking side even better.
I went and bought an
Hopefully.
electric mulching mower so that I can do a couple passes and mulch it in. And because it was sand that we started with, and now we built soil on it. It's crazy, but I'm excited to see what happens next year. It's fun watching this stuff year over year. Like, wait till you see it for Growly. It is so different looking out my office now. It's a wildflower meadow. I can see the lake from my office now. It's cut wide open.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
It's wild. And we can just let the dogs run back and forth on the beach. It's like a quarter mile of private beach that ends in 2 rock seawalls they can't get past.
That's awesome.
That is fucking cool.
So nice.
Don't worry about them running past. But yeah, you got a rock wall.
He did try to go out the other day, and the wife had to like jump in and swim out. And she was wow. She thought she was too far and almost turned around. But he finally stopped and she caught him and
she's
chasing freaking ducks.
That'll do it. And the ducks they're smart with dogs, man. They'll just keep going. They'll stay just far enough and never fly away and just drag those dogs out to sea, man. They did it to my
5 foot at a time.
Dog. Yep.
It's like, you little bastards.
Yeah, they're smart, man. They know how to get them. That's crazy.
Well, now we've got a highway. We've had a bear in the yard as well. So
Really?
yeah, we've got a little baby bear that has left mama as of this year, and she's migrated her way through town. She's made it now behind the Baptist church, which is across the street from me. And he wanders over here. He's wandered past the coop and down the beach. And
Jeez.
so hopefully he's gonna keep moving, keep heading
Yeah.
south, man.
Make it uncomfortable for him.
Yeah. Well, no bird feeders out, none of that crap. So
Mm,
just don't get in my coop.
yeah, just a bunch of chickens.
Those are little tiny things. He don't want them.
They're too difficult to get them anyways, honestly. But
Not at night. If you can get inside that coop, man, they're like
true.
dead at night. It's crazy.
True.
The roosters are still looking out, but you know those hens, man. They're like, all right, just eat me now. I'm cool.
Oh no, man! I got two broody ones right now that I thought they were gonna peck my freaking hand off today, and they're little bantams.
Oh
The
shit!
one that did something I had never seen before, where she like spun around and smacked her wing at me. She
Really?
like popped me with her freaking wing. I'm like, little bitch, what the fuck was that?
I've never seen that. I've seen like the roosters do it to the hens, basically. But
I've had these well,
They're
this is my fourth batch
learning.
now. Like, I don't know how long I've had. 6 years now we've had chickens. That's the first time in all my broody hens that I've seen something like that. And normally she's the calm one.
You should kill that one. They're learning.
There ain't no meat on that one.
Yeah.
She is so little.
Got a debrooder her. Yeah, I was scrambling eggs this morning, just laughing because we had the fresh ones from this morning, and it's just this giant lineup of blue eggs and green eggs and pale white eggs and dark brown eggs and red eggs and big eggs and small eggs, and it's everyone is different, dude.
Yeah, we've got speckled eggs. We have two of them that lay like they look like dinosaur eggs.
Yeah. Are they like brown with like almost like dark brown dots?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
It's probably coming. Do you have black chickens? I don't know the breed, but
Americanas.
All black. Oh
yeah.
The Americanas are laying the speckled ones?
I think it's one of my Americanas.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yes, we do fish. We fish for everything up here.
I miss fishing.
Yeah, me too. I've only gone like twice this year.
Wow. And all there is, the vast majority of all there is to catch out here is fucking trout.
We get a lot of pike and weird shit, but you get some brookies or.
I miss bass fishing.
That's a fun one.
Muskie fishing.
Yeah, muskies. I did walleye fishing a couple months ago.
Walleye fishing.
Oh, right.
You said you crappie and bluegill fishing. Yeah, we can probably do bluegill, but they're never the size that they were back in Wisconsin. My God.
It's funny here in town. Like, we don't fish for anything to eat. We just fish to catch and give away or, put back because
no shit.
All our friends are like whitefish boat captains.
Yeah.
Like we get big ass white. Like it's hard to this versus.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want all that work. Just go back in. It was fun catching you. I like the fight.
Yeah, that work versus the reward.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to go catch your own dinner and whatnot, but yeah.
So
but
earlier,
still, walleye though. Oh.
Yeah. Earlier, Weezin had said, hold up, and mentioned my car, and I happened to find a photo of it. So this was my one I said was my attracted to cops car.
Oh, yeah. Just a little bit.
It stands out just a little bit.
Just a little
bit. Yeah, for sure.
Well, we'll end on that. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. And of course, make sure you find us after the show on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And next week, we'll be back again, 11 p.m. Eastern time, every Friday night. Cheers. You guys got anything to plug before we head out?
Nope. And have a great weekend.
No,
enjoy a long weekend if you get it.
Oh, yeah. You get a great Labor Day, right?
Yep. Happy Labor Day. We love you.
Good.